Beauty wasn't always meant to impress. Once, it was meant to reveal truth. In Renaissance Florence, one painter turned myth into philosophy and faith into fragile human emotion. His name was Sandro Botticelli. Sandro Botticelli was born in Florence in 1445, at the heart of a city that was redefining art, politics, and philosophy all at once. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Botticelli was never obsessed with realism. He cared less about anatomy, perspective, or scientific accuracy, and more about emotion, symbolism, and inner life. He worked under the powerful Medici family, absorbed Neoplatonic philosophy, painted myth alongside Christianity, and lived through moments of both artistic freedom and religious extremism. As the Renaissance moved toward realism and perfection, Botticelli moved in the opposite direction, toward poetry, fragility, and doubt. That is why his work feels different, and that difference is exactly what made him timeless. Welcome to Art Top 10, where we explore the greatest artworks ever created, ranked not just by fame, but by meaning, influence, and lasting impact. If you enjoy art explained clearly, deeply, and visually, subscribe now and join us. Today we count down his top 10 most important masterpieces and why they still matter. Number 10, Fortitude. We begin with Fortitude, Botticelli's earliest signed painting, now displayed in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. At first glance, the figure appears calm, almost restrained. She sits still, armored yet composed, holding a symbol of authority without asserting dominance. Botticelli avoids physical tension or heroic posture entirely. This choice is deliberate. For Botticelli, strength is not force, it is control. At a time when Renaissance artists were increasingly fascinated by anatomy and movement, Botticelli turns inward. He paints emotional resilience rather than physical power. The figure's quiet presence suggests endurance, patience, and moral stability. Fortitude does not challenge the viewer. She withstands. This subtle psychological approach becomes a foundation for Botticelli's later work. Number 9, Portrait of a Man with the Medal of Cosimo de' Medici. Also housed in the Uffizi Gallery, this portrait reveals Botticelli's sensitivity to social identity and power. The young man's expression is thoughtful, even cautious. He does not attempt to impress. Instead, he presents himself honestly, almost vulnerably. In his hands rests a medal depicting Cosimo de' Medici, Florence's most influential political figure. The contrast is striking. The sitter is human and uncertain. The medal is cold and authoritative. This painting is not about celebration. It is about association. Botticelli captures the psychological weight of living under power, loyalty mixed with responsibility. Rather than glorifying status, he exposes its quiet pressure, making this one of the most introspective portraits of the early Renaissance. Number 8, the Adoration of the Magi. At first glance, this appears to be a traditional nativity scene, but Botticelli hides himself inside the painting. This Adoration of the Magi, displayed today at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, is filled with members of the powerful Medici family, portrayed as the three kings and their court. They command the center of the composition, wealthy, confident, untouchable. Now look to the far right. A single figure stands apart, dressed in warm yellow tones, not praying, not bowing, but looking directly at us. Art historians widely agree this figure is Botticelli himself. With that quiet, unbroken gaze, the artist steps out of the scene and into history, not as a servant of power, but as its observer. Once you notice him watching from the edge of the canvas, the painting changes forever. Number 7, Cestello Annunciation. In the Cestello Annunciation, Botticelli isolates a moment of psychological transformation. Mary's body turns slightly away from the angel Gabriel. Her posture expresses hesitation, not fear, a pause before acceptance. The architecture compresses the space, narrowing the distance between the figures. This visual tension mirrors the emotional weight of the moment. Botticelli presents belief not as obedience, but as awareness. Mary understands the cost of what she is being asked and chooses anyway. This interpretation makes the scene profoundly human. The divine message does not erase uncertainty. It demands courage. Faith in Botticelli's world is never effortless. Number 6. The Mystical Nativity. Now preserved in the National Gallery in London, this painting marks a turning point in Botticelli's life and art. Created during a period of social unrest and religious extremism, the composition rejects balance and clarity. The scene feels emotionally charged, almost unstable. Angels celebrate above, while demons retreat below, crushed by spiritual force. The world appears divided between salvation and chaos. Unlike traditional nativity scenes, this one offers no comfort. It offers urgency. Botticelli signs and dates the work, a rare act, signaling personal conviction. This is not a commission. It is a declaration of belief shaped by fear, hope, and uncertainty. Number 5. Madonna of the Pomegranate. Hanging in the Uffizi Gallery, this Madonna is one of Botticelli's most emotionally layered works. Mary holds a pomegranate, split open to reveal deep red seeds. The fruit symbolizes resurrection and sacrifice, life born from suffering. Her expression is serene, but her gaze is distant. She is present in the moment, yet aware of what lies ahead. Botticelli portrays motherhood as a balance between tenderness and foreknowledge. Beauty exists, but it carries consequence. This Madonna does not comfort the viewer. She invites reflection. It is faith painted with quiet sorrow and profound restraint. Number 4. Venus and Mars. Displayed in London's National Gallery, this mythological scene quietly reverses expectations. Mars, the god of war, lies asleep, defenseless and disarmed. Venus remains awake, alert, and composed. Around them, playful satyrs mock the fallen warrior, emphasizing his vulnerability. Botticelli avoids drama. The scene is calm, almost playful, yet deeply philosophical. This is not a victory through force. It is dominance through balance. Botticelli suggests that love does not conquer violence. It outlasts it. The painting transforms myth into reflection, humor into insight. Number 3. Mystic Crucifixion. Our number 3 masterpiece now resides in the Harvard Art Museums. Painted late in Botticelli's life, this work abandons elegance and harmony entirely. Figures twist in anguish, space fractures, the sky darkens. There is no ideal beauty here, only belief under pressure. Botticelli confronts suffering without myth or symbolism to soften it. Faith is no longer philosophical, it is urgent. This painting does not resolve tension, it exposes it. And that honesty makes it Botticelli's most powerful statement. Number 2. Primavera. Few works in art history resist explanation like Primavera, permanently housed in the Uffizi Gallery. The scene unfolds as a continuous movement through spring. Mythological figures drift rather than walk, existing outside ordinary time. Venus stands at the center, calm and observing, while love, desire, restraint, and renewal unfold around her. There is no single narrative, meaning overlaps. Botticelli intentionally avoids clarity. He creates a visual poem where philosophy, mythology, and politics coexist. The painting rewards contemplation, not interpretation. Number 1. The Birth of Venus. Also displayed in the Uffizi Gallery, this painting reshaped Western ideas of beauty. Venus emerges from the sea, anatomically impossible, yet visually perfect. Botticelli rejects realism in favor of idealized form. This is not a body meant to exist. It is a form meant to inspire. By reintroducing classical mythology, Botticelli elevates beauty into philosophy. Venus represents harmony, purity, and timeless order, untouched by decay. The image endures because it is not specific. It is universal. Botticelli didn't paint certainty. He painted emotion, hesitation, and belief in transition. That is why his work still speaks to us today, not as answers, but as questions that remain alive. If you enjoyed this journey, support Art Top 10 by liking, subscribing, and sharing the video. And tell us in the comments, Which Botticelli painting would you want to stand in front of? And why? We'll see you in the next masterpiece.